The Amber Room is often hailed as one of the world's most alluring lost treasures, a masterpiece of craftsmanship that disappeared under mysterious circumstances during World War II. For centuries, it dazzled visitors with its golden luminescence, intricate carvings, and unparalleled elegance. Today, the fate of this magnificent room remains shrouded in questions. Was it destroyed, hidden away in a secret bunker, or spirited out of Eastern Europe? The story of the Amber Room begins in the early 18th century, when artisans in Prussia created a space unlike any other. Commissioned by Frederick I, the first king in Prussia, the room was designed by master sculptor Andreas Schluter and crafted by Danish amber artisan Gottfried Wolfram. And yes, you heard me right. His title was King in Prussia, not King of Prussia, due to the fact that he was also the Elector of Brandenburg in the Holy Roman Empire. But let's get back to the Amber Room itself, because trust me, the last thing we need is a detour into the intricacies of the HRE. Over 13,000 pounds of amber were used, carefully formed into Baroque panels and embellished with gold leaf and mirrors. The result was a breathtaking chamber that virtually glowed when illuminated by candlelight. It was installed in the Charlottenburg Palace in Berlin, where it instantly became the pride of the Prussian court. However, the Amber Room's location would soon change. In 1716, Frederick William I, the king's son and successor, gifted the room to Tsar Peter the Great of Russia. This diplomatic gesture helped strengthen relations between Prussia and Russia. The ornate panels were dismantled and then transported to St. Petersburg, eventually finding their home in the Catherine Palace. Once installed, the Amber Room was expanded and refined by Russian, German, and Italian artisans. By the late 18th century, it spanned about 180 square feet and contained several more elaborate adornments, including mosaic panels from Florence. Throughout the 18th and 19th centuries, the Amber Room became synonymous with Russian imperial splendor. Visitors who were granted access to the Catherine Palace often remarked upon the room's almost surreal luminosity. Because amber is a fossilized tree resin, it refracts light in a way that produces a warm, golden glow. Combined with gilded accents and mirrors, the space created an atmosphere akin to being enveloped in pure sunshine. This period of relative peace and prosperity in Russia allowed the Amber Room to remain untouched, guarded as one of the crown jewels of the Russian Empire. The 20th century would be much less kind to Russia in terms of stability, to put it very mildly. The multiple revolutions, the humiliation in the Russo-Japanese War, and 2 world wars would soon threaten the stability of many historical artifacts. The Amber Room's disappearance coincided with the German invasion of the Soviet Union in June 1941. As Axis troops advanced into Russian territory, curators at the Catherine Palace tried to dismantle and hide the panels to protect them from looting. However, because the amber had become brittle with age, the administrators eventually decided to leave the room intact, hoping that its fragile state would dissuade attempts to remove it. In October 1941, German soldiers entered the palace and discovered the glittering treasure. The panels were quickly disassembled and shipped to Königsberg, present-day Kaliningrad, where they were put on display in the city's Castle Museum. For nearly 2 years, the Amber Room remained in Königsberg. In August 1944, British bombers targeted the city, causing widespread destruction. Soon thereafter, Soviet forces advanced from the east, and the German authorities attempted to evacuate or hide key cultural treasures. The precise details of what happened next have never been confirmed. Some accounts suggest the Amber Room was packed into crates and loaded onto a ship, while others claim it was concealed in a bunker beneath Königsberg Castle. By the time Soviet troops arrived and seized the city in April 1945, the Amber Room had vanished without a trace. In the immediate post-war years, the Soviet government launched a comprehensive search for the Amber Room. Investigators questioned former German officials and local residents, inspected bunkers, and scoured castle ruins, but they found nothing. Even the city's underground passages and salt mines in the surrounding area were examined. The Soviet Union was eager to locate the room, both for its immense cultural value and as a political symbol. Yet not a single amber panel was recovered, sparking theories and fueling speculation for decades to come. Some officials theorized that the Amber Room, already in a rather fragile state, was destroyed in the final bombing raids on Königsberg. However, no conclusive evidence supported that claim, and fragments or remnants were never identified in the city's rubble. As the Cold War intensified, the search lost momentum, turning into a hushed affair that mostly interested art historians, treasure hunters, and a small circle of Soviet bureaucrats. It would be decades before a renewed wave of interest surged with the collapse of the Soviet Union. Over the years, numerous theories have been proposed about the Amber Room's final hiding place. One long-standing rumor suggests that it sank to the bottom of the Baltic Sea when the ship transporting it was torpedoed. Another theory holds that the Germans concealed it in a secret bunker somewhere in Poland or the Czech Republic. Enthusiasts and treasure hunters have spent untold hours poring over maps, diaries, and archival documents, hoping to uncover a clue that reveals its location. Several intriguing leads have emerged over the years. In the 1990s, a German search team claimed to have found evidence of a hidden room in an old mine near Dresden, suspecting it housed the stolen amber panels. Investigations, however, failed to yield any trace of the missing amber panels. Polish explorers have also conducted digs in rural areas where they believe trains carrying stolen art might have been abandoned during the war's chaotic final days. To date, no Amber Room artifacts have been conclusively recovered from these efforts. While the original Amber Room remains lost, a magnificent reconstruction stands in its place at the Catherine Palace. The work began in 1979 under the direction of Soviet authorities, employing amber artisans who studied black and white photographs and any surviving documentation of the original room. Using traditional methods of carving and inlay, they painstakingly recreated each panel. The project was finally completed in 2003, in time for the 300th anniversary of St. Petersburg. Durandal, the legendary sword of Roland, a paladin under Charlemagne, is one of the most renowned artifacts in medieval history. Renowned for its supposed indestructibility and sharpness, the blade is central to various tales, most notably the Song of Roland. In this work, it's described as containing sacred relics within its golden hilt: a tooth of St. Peter, blood of St. Basil, hair of St. Denis, and the clothing of the Virgin Mary. These relics were believed to imbue the sword with divine power, making it a formidable weapon against adversaries. The poem narrates that during the Battle of Roncevaux Pass, Roland, facing overwhelming forces, used the blade to slay numerous enemies, including severing the right arm of the Saracen king. Fearing that the sword might fall into enemy hands, Roland attempted to destroy it by striking it against marble blocks, but it remained unscathed. Ultimately, Roland concealed the sword beneath his body as he lay dying, alongside his elephant tusk hunting horn. Various legends surround Durandal's origin. One account states that an angel presented the sword to Charlemagne, who then bestowed it to his most loyal paladin. Another tale from a 12th century poem recounts that a young Charlemagne, fighting for Christendom in Spain, acquired the weapon after slaying an Andalusian prince. Additionally, the Song of Aspremont describes Roland defeating the Saracen Aumon, son of King Agallant, and claiming Durandal as his prize. Local lore in Rocamadour, France, adds another layer to Durandal's mythos. According to tradition, instead of dying with Durandal hidden under his body, Roland called on the Archangel Michael for assistance. With the assistance of Michael, he was able to throw the sword several hundred kilometers across the border into France, where it came to rest in Rocamadour. There, it was deposited in the chapel of Mary before allegedly being stolen by Henry the Young King, who was serving as Junior King of England in 1183. After this event, numerous replicas have been created, though they have all been stolen as well, with the most recent replica having been stolen in June 2024. The historicity of Durandal remains a subject of debate among historians and literary scholars. While the sword is prominently featured in medieval epics like the Song of Roland, its existence as a real weapon is highly questionable. Most scholars argue that Durandal is a product of medieval romanticization rather than a historical artifact. One of the central points against Durandal's historicity is its portrayal in legend. It's described as containing sacred relics and being indestructible, attributes consistent with mythic storytelling rather than historical fact. Such embellishments align with the broader purpose of epic poetry, to inspire and glorify national or religious identity rather than document real events. Proponents of Durandal's possible historicity point to the medieval practice of creating legendary narratives around real artifacts. It's conceivable that a sword belonging to a notable Frankish knight like Roland, who is a well-documented historical figure, became a focal point for myth-making. Additionally, the Battle of Roncevaux Pass, where Durandal is said to have been wielded in a last stand by Roland, was a historical event, and Roland was slain in this battle. Raphael's Portrait of a Young Man, painted in 1514, is a significant work from the Italian High Renaissance. The subject's identity remains unverified, though many scholars have traditionally regarded it as Raphael's self-portrait. The facial features are perceived by specialists as compatible with, if not clearly identical to, the only undoubted self-portrait by Raphael in his fresco, The School of Athens, at the Vatican. The portrait depicts a richly dressed and confidently poised young man, embodying the elegance and sophistication characteristic of Raphael's work during this period. The subject's attire and demeanor reflect the cultivated mannerist expression prevalent among the noble class in early 16th century Italy. Before World War II, the painting was part of the Czartoryski Museum's collection in Kraków, Poland. The museum, established by Princess Isabella Czartoryska in the early 19th century, housed numerous masterpieces, including works by Leonardo da Vinci and Rembrandt. These works were acquired by the Czartoryski family during their extensive travels across Europe, with this particular work being acquired in 1798. Interestingly, the provenance of the painting prior to its acquisition by the Czartoryski family in 1798 remains largely undocumented. Specific records detailing its ownership during the intervening centuries are virtually non-existent. In 1939, as Germany invaded Poland, the Czartoryski family attempted to safeguard their collection by hiding key pieces, including Raphael's Portrait of a Young Man, in a residence in Sienova. Despite these efforts, the Gestapo discovered the hidden artworks. Hans Frank, the German-appointed Governor-General of occupied Poland, took possession of the painting. He displayed it prominently in his residence at Wawel Castle in Krakow. As the war neared its end in January 1945, Frank transported several artworks, including Raphael's portrait, to his villa in Germany. After his arrest by American forces in May 1945, many looted artworks were recovered, but Portrait of a Young Man was not among them. Its whereabouts have remained unknown since then, giving rise to significant speculation. One prominent idea is that the painting may now reside in a private collection, possibly in Germany, the United States, Switzerland, or Russia. During and after the war, clandestine art transactions were common, and it's plausible that the artwork was discreetly acquired by a private collector who has since kept it hidden. Some experts suspect the painting may even have been passed down through generations. Under this theory, its owners are either unaware of its historical significance or purposefully keeping it concealed to avoid legal or financial consequences. This theory remains compelling given the secrecy that often surrounds private art holdings. Another possibility is that the painting was destroyed during the chaotic final days of the war. This theory gained attention due to dramatizations like the 2014 film The Monuments Men, which portrayed German forces deliberately destroying stolen artworks. While no evidence confirms this scenario, the destruction of countless cultural artifacts during the war makes it a sobering possibility. If true, it would mean that the portrait of a young man is lost forever, joining the long list of cultural treasures irretrievably damaged in wartime. A less grim but equally plausible theory is that the painting may simply have been misplaced during the extensive relocations of art throughout the war. In their efforts to safeguard or hide cultural treasures, officials from various countries moved countless artworks into storage. Some items became lost or forgotten in these vast repositories, particularly in the post-war period, when the focus shifted to rebuilding cities and infrastructure. It's possible that Raphael's work lies dormant in one of these storerooms, waiting to be rediscovered. Finally, there's the theory that the painting is held by individuals who unknowingly acquired it during or after the war. Looted artworks often changed hands multiple times, and some pieces were sold without their origins being fully disclosed. In this scenario, the portrait of a young man might be hanging in someone's home, unrecognized for the masterpiece it truly is. Abaskun was a prominent medieval port situated on the southeastern shore of the Caspian Sea, in the region historically known as Golistan. What makes the city most interesting is that despite its prominence in the Middle Ages, its fate remains unknown. Its exact location remains uncertain, but scholars suggest it was near the mouth of the Gorgonrud River, near the Iran-Turkmenistan border at the Caspian Sea. Arab and Persian geographers noted that Abaskun was within a 1 to 3 day journey from the city of Gorgon. During its zenith, Abaskun thrived as a bustling trading hub. Merchants from the city traveled up the Caspian Sea and into the Volga River, connecting the city into the extensive Volga trade route that ran up to the Baltic Sea. Abaskun was renowned for exporting goods like cloth, rawhide, and exotic seabirds' feathers, which were prized for garment decoration. In the 10th century, the city boasted a citadel constructed of brick and a mosque situated in the market quarter, reflecting its architectural and cultural development. However, Abaskun's prosperity also made it a target for invasions. The Rus, seafaring warriors from the north, conducted several raids on the city. Between 864 and 884, they launched a series of initial small-scale attacks. The wealth discovered led to subsequent large-scale pillaging, occurring in 909 or 910, and then again in 913. It's thought that this greatly diminished the city's prosperity and importance. In 1220, the city's narrative took a dramatic turn when Muhammad II, the Shah of Khwarezm, fleeing the Mongol invasion, sought refuge on an island near Abaskun. Following this event, historical records ceased to mention the city, suggesting a rapid decline. By the 14th century, Persian geographer Hamdallah Mustafi reported that the city had submerged beneath the Caspian Sea. He attributed this submersion to a rise in sea levels, possibly caused by the Oxus River temporarily altering its course to flow into the Caspian instead of the Aral Sea. However, this geographer had no first-hand knowledge of the city and didn't provide any timelines for when this may have occurred. The disappearance of Abaskun has intrigued historians and archaeologists alike. Some agree that natural factors, such as rising sea levels and shifting river courses, led to its destruction. Still others suggest that the city was submerged under a man-made deluge, the Mongols under Genghis Khan. One speculative theory, emphasizing that it remains purely a hypothesis, suggests that his relentless hatred for Muhammad of Khwarezm drew his attention to Abaskun. After Muhammad fled to an island near this once thriving port on the Caspian Sea, Genghis Khan's forces may have turned their wrath upon it in reprisal. The Khwarezmian Shah had provoked the Mongols by executing Mongol envoys, incurring Genghis Khan's legendary wrath. Many historians agree that the Mongol invasion marked a decisive turning point in the region, but no direct evidence confirms the city's destruction by the Mongols. Fueling this possibility is Genghis Khan's reputation for devastating entire cities if they were connected to his enemies. Abaskun's strategic position and bustling trade networks would have made it a tempting prize. The fact that historical records all but vanish after the Shah's stay hints at something catastrophic, a swift and total Mongol assault. The lack of definitive archaeological evidence and the ambiguity of medieval sources make the tale of Abaskun's downfall an intriguing, yet still unproven, piece of the Mongol legacy. Without new archaeological discoveries or a fresh discovery in a newly discovered primary source, the fate of Abaskun will remain one of history's mysteries. Gobekli Tepe, located in southeastern Turkey, has been hailed as the world's oldest known temple complex, revolutionizing understanding of prehistoric societies. Dating back over 11,000 years, this site was constructed by early Neolithic humans during a period when farming and settled life were still in their infancy. The site consists of large circular structures known as enclosures, each containing massive T-shaped stone pillars. These pillars, some towering over 5 meters high, are adorned with intricate carvings of animals like snakes, vultures, wild boars, and foxes, often depicted in relief. These carvings are believed to have had symbolic significance, potentially relating to religious or spiritual practices. Interestingly, no evidence of permanent habitation has been found at Gobekli Tepe, suggesting that it was a ceremonial site for semi-nomadic hunter-gatherers rather than a village or town. One of the most remarkable aspects of Gobekli Tepe is the advanced engineering and organization required to build it. The people who constructed this site did so without metal tools or domesticated animals, raising questions about how they managed to transport and erect the enormous stone pillars. This has led archaeologists to hypothesize that Gobekli Tepe may have been a gathering place where different groups of people came together for religious rituals or social events. Excavations at Gobekli Tepe have revealed 3 main levels of construction. The oldest, known as Level 3, features the most complex and monumental architecture, including large stone circles with richly carved pillars. Later levels, particularly Level 2, show a shift towards more rectangular enclosures, indicating a possible evolution in architectural style over time. Interestingly, the oldest level appears to be the most advanced, raising questions about how and why construction techniques seem to have regressed in later phases. The carvings on the pillars are not just decorative, but are believed to be deeply symbolic, possibly representing totems or spiritual beliefs. For example, Enclosure A is dominated by carvings of snakes, which may have had mythological or religious importance in the region. Similarly, Enclosure C features depictions of wild boars, while Enclosure B is known for its carvings of foxes. These animal motifs are repeated throughout the site and seem to reflect a sophisticated symbolic system consistent with early spiritual or religious beliefs. One of the most intriguing mysteries surrounding Gobekli Tepe is its intentional burial. Around 8000 BC, the entire site was deliberately covered with dirt, preserving it for millennia. The reasons for this burial remain unclear, though some researchers speculate it could have been part of a ritual or a way to mark the end of its use. Others suggest it may have been an effort to preserve the sanctity of the site, or simply a practical measure as the site fell out of use. Gobekli Tepe has significantly upended previous theories about the development of human civilization. Before its discovery, it was widely believed that large, complex societies could only develop after the advent of agriculture. However, Gobekli Tepe demonstrates that even hunter-gatherers were capable of organizing large-scale construction projects and engaging in complex social and religious activities. Some scholars now believe that sites like Gobekli Tepe may have played a role in the eventual transition to agriculture. These scholars suggest the need to feed and organize large groups of people in the area could have led to the increased domestication of plants and animals. The civilization responsible for building Gobekli Tepe remains largely mysterious, as no written records or clear evidence of a unified political structure have been found. The builders of Gobekli Tepe are theorized to have lived in small, mobile groups and relied on foraging, hunting, and fishing for survival. Today, Gobekli Tepe is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and continues to be a focus of archaeological research. Its significance lies not only in its age, but in what it reveals about the social and cultural capabilities of early human societies.